Hey guys, Matt from Back Yourself Fitness here. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from the past few videos that we've put up. The past week or so, I've been trialing some intermittent fasting. So thought I'd just give you guys a bit of a rundown on what I've experienced. If you were looking at doing it yourself, things that you can expect. I've got a list of notes that I want to share with everyone. Just, as I said, it's stuff that I've experienced over the past 7 days, and it's been pretty interesting. I'm not going to go into the hows and whys on why intermittent fasting is, one of the fitness, not crazes, but fitness fads for dieting. You can do your own research on that, but I just want to go through what I've experienced over these past 7 days. So first and foremost, I just want to say that Back Yourself Fitness does not prescribe any eating plan. Reason we don't do that is because everyone's different. What works for me may not work for you. So we're all about sustainable, healthy lifestyle changes. It's not about cutting carbs or doing a 5 and 2 diet or whatever. Because as soon as you go onto a diet, you got to come off a diet at some point. So diets are pretty. I don't like saying pointless, but you've got to come off a diet at some point. With intermittent fasting, I have changed my eating routine. So I'm not dieting. I'm eating the exact same amount. I've just changed my eating routine a little bit. My suggestion is for any alterations that you're going to do to your eating plan, or the way you schedule your food or whatever, you've got to do your research. That the ball's in your court. Obviously, if we were suggesting a way of eating, then we've obviously done research on that and why we think it may be helpful for you. But if you're interested in different, healthy lifestyle options or eating options or things like that, you need to do your research as well. You can't just blindly go into something and say, I'm going to cut carbs or I'm going to eat only 1,200 calories a day, because that's not sustainable. You've got to think about how your different eating is going to affect your day-to-day life. If we take that, cutting carbs, you got to think carbs are energy. So how are you going to go through a normal day of your life without the energy food? You need to change the way that your meals are structured. Are you able to do that? If you're a night worker, are you going to be able to work off food that isn't overly high in energy? So these are things you got to think about before you go into any, eating alterations or calorie counting or whatever the case may be. So you need to think about how it's directly going to affect how you operate day to day. Simple question I've heard a couple of times is why am I doing this? It's purely for my knowledge. I want to see how my body reacts to the little tweak I've made. And it hasn't been a massive change, but it's definitely been a noticeable change. I'm not doing it for weight loss. I'm also doing it to see how it affects my training, how it affects my day-to-day, how it affects my body composition, things like that. It's purely for knowledge. So I'm not doing it just I need to drop weight or anything like that. It's purely for knowledge that I started doing this. Cool. So that's that little bit. I want to look at things that I've learned and things that I've noticed over the past 7 days. Before I started, I did my research, like I said, and looked at the health benefits of why intermittent fasting has become so popular and things like that. And once again, if you were looking at doing intermittent fasting, you need to do that research as well. You may take that information in different to me, and I can only talk on the research that I've done and the experience that I've had. When I said, why am I doing it and how it affects my training and things like that, I've set a training plan for myself that I'm going to train 4 days of compound movements, and then there's a fitness day in there as well. And if I train a 6th time, it'll probably be another fitness session, but predominantly focusing on compound movements and how this way of eating affects my strength and my endurance and things like that. I'm going on the 16 and 8 time frame. So 16-hour fast and 8 hours to get my full day of calories in. I'm using MyFitnessPal just as a guide to see what my daily allowance is for calories, and it's about the 3,300 mark, which is a heap to try and cram in your 8 hours. But yeah, what I have noticed with my food is once you start eating, great, you feel good, you need that energy, your body goes, yes, give me that food. But you're eating so much in that 8 hours that come the end of your 8 hour window, you're sick of food. I get sick of food. I don't want to eat anymore. But then I find myself 2-3 hours later going, oh, I could eat. So it's obviously speeding up the way my body works and changing the way my body's processing food and energy. I always time my workouts to start at the start of my window, so we speak. So how my day works is I get up at 5 a.m. At work by 5:15, then train clients, and the first thing I have in my day is obviously just water, but the first thing outside of water is I have black coffee at around about 8 or 8:30. Then I train. Then my food isn't till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Then I push all the way through, just shoveling food in till about 4:35-ish, depending on when my training session was and things like that. So I time my food with my workout. So after my workout, my nutrient window is open, so my body's ready to fuel. So I'm throwing in heaps and heaps and heaps of nutrition, so my body can just absorb all the nutrients from what I've been eating. Other things I've noticed, like from a training point of view, I've noticed that I'm stronger, and first thing in the morning, I've got a clearer head, which is quite surprising. I thought, food first thing in the morning would help me switch on, but I actually find not eating first thing in the morning has given me a clearer brain first up for training clients. So, at work at 5:15, and I've got to be on the ball at 5:15, and I'm finding it easier to do that. I feel leaner. My strength has improved. Working out on an empty stomach, having nothing but, water and then your black coffee, I've got so much more energy. I find coffee does, you feel the caffeine more. So my workouts have been really good these past 7 days. Hopefully that continues. But strength-wise, I'm pushing similar, if not heavier weights than what I was, which is good. They're the positives training-wise, that I've picked up. If you think it's all smooth sailing, it's really not. For the first couple of days, you will have headaches, and that's your body adapting to the way you're treating it now. So it takes a couple of days for your body to kick into gear, so you've really got to keep your fluid up. But as I said, you will feel, have a bit of a headache, a little bit achy from not putting in food as regularly as you were. And like I said before, in your 8 hour window, you will be sick of food, and that sucks, but it's the truth. You will be sick of food, but then a couple of hours later, you're ready to eat again. So you need to be very wise with the food that you choose. So calorie dense food is what you need. You need to have your eggs and your fish and things like that. I've found, just as I said, this is from my experiences, I found pastas and rices, they're like, it just makes me feel bloated and, makes me more so sick feeling. So I'm trying to steer clear of the pastas, all brown stuff as well. So pastas and rices, it's just making me feel a little bit ill trying to cram it all in that 8 hours. So from here on out, I'm trying to focus more on calorie dense meals, not so much quantity, but the quality of food that I'm eating. I'm not restricting my calories. So I'm still having my full amount. People think that intermittent fasting is just cut your calories, easy. Just eat, 2 meals a day of whatever. Wrong. You still need to eat the same. It's just changing the time frames you're eating on. it does not make eating easier. It doesn't make food prepping easier. Like that was one of the selling points that I came across. It's like, oh, you don't have to food prep. It's so much easier. You've got more time to cook and whatever. Nah, not at all. So I'm still eating the same amount of food, and I'm actually feeling more pressure to eat, and I'm eating because I know I have to eat. I'm not necessarily hungry. So that's not stressful, but when you don't really feel like eating and you know you've got to eat because you've only got 2 more hours to eat, that's not a great feeling. Like there's been a couple of days where I've gotten, 2 hours out or an hour and a half out from my window stopping or closing, I should say, and I still have to eat 1,500 calories, and that's heaps. And especially if you're not feeling like eating, it's a bit of a kick in the ass to try and eat that food, and you're not going to enjoy it. You're just eating because you know you have to eat. So this rolls into my next point perfectly. You got to commit. You've really got to go, right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lock it down. You still need to prep your food. You still need to, eat good stuff. You can't just be eating shit stuff to get your calories up. You need to train hard as well. It's not a case of, I'm eating better, I don't need to train hard, because that's not why I'm doing this. What I am doing, though, is I'm working Sunday to Friday. So I'm giving myself Saturday to relax it, purely so I don't go mental. And when I say relax it, I don't mean I'm going to eat crap, but I don't worry about my 8-hour window. I kind of eat whenever I really want to eat. It is the weekend. I am trying to have some kind of life outside of trialing this. So I'm doing it 6 out of the 7 days a week. But as I said, I'm not blowing it out on the Saturday. What else we got? Other things I've noticed is anything that's out of the norm for your normal week will knock you around. So by that, what I mean is increased stress, later nights, like I play sport twice a week, so late games have knocked me around. High stress knocks you around because you can't eat to give yourself that extra energy. Like, let's say I've got an 8:30 game at night. I can't eat any later because the game's later, because that'll change my whole window for the next day. So I'm still finishing eating at 4 o'clock, 4:30, and then playing a high-intensity sport. It's hard to keep the energy levels up, and then the next day you're kind of chasing your tail a little bit. You've got to be prepared for what it throws at you. And going back to that word commit, if you're not fully committed, there's no real point doing anything really. So you've got to commit to it to make it worthwhile. I'm going to continue with this purely because I want to see what happens over the next 3 weeks. I'll give it 3 more weeks and just see what happens. And if it's great, I'll keep going. And if nothing really changes, then I'll stop. So as I said, I'm doing this for knowledge. Pros and cons we take out of it. Pros, I'm feeling stronger. Pros, I'm more up and about in the morning. Energy levels are good. Few cons we've got is eating is still a hassle. You have to be prepared to be sick of food. You've got to stay really, really committed to it. Otherwise, it's not going to be working in your favor. So 7 days down, I'm going to take some body measurements today. I've just been tracking the weights that I've been doing on different exercises, but just purely from a scales point of view, it's like, I think I started about 83 and I'm down to 81.5. So that's across 7 days, and that's pretty good, but my weight can fluctuate depending on what time of day I weigh myself, because I am trying to eat heaps. But yeah, thought I'd keep everyone posted. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can throw it in the comments section. You can message me directly, whatever you want to do. As I said, before you jump into anything, you need to do your research. And before you take eating advice from any trainers, you need to ask whether they've done it, because it's very easy in the fitness industry to give a cookie cutter. Here's 1,800 calories a day. Here's 1,500 calories a day. If you eat like this, if you eat these exact things, you'll lose weight. Everyone's different. So, I'd be taking advice from people who've done it, not from someone who's read it online. And that's another reason why I'm doing this. I want to be able to experience it so I can share my experiences with everyone. If you're going to do it, commit. If not, don't even bother. As I said, I'll keep you posted, but feeling pretty good. Like I'm not worn out, but it's only 7 days in. We'll see how the next 21 go.